Hello there, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from wherever you are watching. My name is Mr. Joseph Telewa. I am the MYP coordinator at a school called Chubairo International School here in Bujumbura. And we are here to discuss about IB with my colleague here.
Hello, my name is Peter Gevinji. I am the IB DP coordinator at Chubairo International School. Welcome as we try to underpin the IB program.
Yes, so Chubairo recently got authorized for both the diploma program and the MYP program. And a lot of people have been asking, what is this IB? And I believe it is the first school in Burundi to do so. Mm-hmm. And naturally, there should be questions from parents.
Exactly.
So maybe just to start off, what is IB to you?
Well, if I try to recount the authorization journey of IB, it has been quite a tough one. We are 1 year into implementing the diploma. We just got authorized for MYP last month.
Yes.
And you can see the kind of celebration we had because we understand what it took us.
It is quite a challenging one. It was quite it was stretching. It was it has brought a new perspective even amongst the teachers and the students in terms of what it means to be a teacher. You know, initially it was competing for the highest, praises or that. But now they have shaped the perspective into what we call, they're more collaborative of each other. You know, it's now brought a new perspective at school. So why do you think IB has done that?
Well, IB is a very broad program.
Yes.
Starting all the way from early years program,
yes,
all the way to A levels. We have PYP, that
yes,
is primary years program.
Yes.
We have middle years program, MYP, and we have diploma program, yes, which is DP, and then we have career related program, that is the CP. So back in the 1960s, there were a lot of confusion about which was the best education system of the world at that time.
Yeah.
You remember the world was in a lot of chaos.
Exactly.
No one was knowing what was happening. The kind of competition that was there in the world that time needed a very proper education program that could shape and harmonize how people are operating. There was a lot of industrialization that time.
Yes.
So the education system that was required that time needed to provide just the required skills for those industries. So then came the IB. In 1968, a group of teachers in Geneva, they came up with a program. First, they didn't call it IB, International Baccalaureate. They just call it baccalaureate. I think that it should be French. So they tried to design, they identified the gaps that were existing in the world at that time. So they modeled a program, an educational program that was going to harmonize, that was going to mold a student to become a global student. That is what I mean, a global citizen. That is the whole philosophy of IB.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I would say that it is one of those programs that is now the top amongst the world. If you go to Europe, even the royal family considers IB to be a perfect way to train their children. And therefore it has gained a lot of fame around the world. We also see that students who go to university, having studied IB, we are told that they adjust much, much better than other students who've gone through different curricula. And it is technologically based, I believe. In our authorization, teachers had to really delve into technology. Not only teachers, but even students as well. So you realize that it is one program that is all-rounded, and it equips a student the best way in terms of preparing for universities. I know even in diploma now, some universities have reached out to you.
Oh, yes. The IB program is a very harmonious program.
Yes.
It is well structured. They know where they start from and they know where they end from.
Yes.
Now, when you look at diploma, for example, IB has tried to establish, after students go through the IB DP program, after graduation, after they get their transcripts, what next?
Yes.
The students are again going to be subjected to another process of looking for universities, which sometimes might be tiresome, tedious, and costly. So what IB did, and it continues to do this,
Yes.
it keeps reaching out to universities around the world. It continues to establish connections, collaborations,
Yes.
and in their portal, in the IB portal, they have established an online database. This is where you can click and you can get all the universities that IB has established direct connection with. So what entails in this connection is that, as of yesterday, there was 1,232 universities that exist in that partnership. So what happens once students complete the program and they get their results? IB sends the results of students to these universities. So a student is supposed to select 6 out of the 1,232, and then IB will definitely send transcript there just to try to secure. So what I'm trying to mean is that IB has organized its program where it starts from the PYP, what they do at PYP, what they do at MYP, what they do at DP or CP, and what they do after that. Very well structured.
Yes.
And you will agree with me that now that we are implementing IB, you have noticed a lot of developments in our learners.
Exactly. I think we should just try to talk about what it means to be authorized, what it means to be an IB school. And in terms of MYP, it has taken us about 18 months, roughly 1 year and a half, to get from candidacy all the way to authorization. And there are very distinct measures that are supposed to be in place that a school needs to fulfill, including the training of the teachers, in order for the center to be accepted. It is not just something you go and apply, and then you wait for the feedback and so on and so forth. So there have been steps, and throughout these steps, all the way from application for candidacy, there are some requirements that we have to put in place for teachers to be able to be trained. I think all our teachers now have been trained at school to handle the IB curriculum, and that gives it an edge over the other curriculum. Because I believe that when they are trained, they go into the program knowing exactly what they're supposed to do, or the basics of the program, and they get to catch up and even improve on it going forward. Something else, they look at the infrastructure at school. Because, for example, the MYP is technologically centered. Even the exams that we shall do here, we shall do our first exams in May next year, and these exams will be done on screen on a desktop. So it is technologically centered, and it opens up a student in terms of how knowledgeable they are. We have an aspect of globalization. We don't only learn from the context of maybe our country or our school or our region, but you compare what is going on this part of the world with other, maybe the Western world, the Northern world, the Far East and the Middle East, and so on and so forth. So it is something that it's a program that really brings in the globalization in terms of our students. I don't know, what was your journey like in terms of diploma?
Well, when again I tried to recount the whole journey, I remember that was back in June 2022.
Yes.
A couple of years back. And like you said, there were a lot of things we really had to put in place, including the teacher trainings. The trainings, of course, they are done by IB itself.
Yes.
So that the teachers can be equipped with exactly what IB needs and requires.
Yes.
So that the teachers, now the facilitators, can be equipped with just the required skills. There were a lot of things to put in place in terms of infrastructure, the classroom arrangement, among other accessibilities. Now, on the part of documentation, there was a lot of policies to put in place. There was the admission policy, there was the access and inclusion, among others.
Yes.
And all this, they are meant to shape and harmonize how the program was to be implemented.
Exactly.
This became like our Bible.
Yes.
Each time we need to do something in the program, there is where we need to refer to first. Yeah, and this one has helped us a lot. And you can see how harmoniously we have been running World top class program
Exactly.
at Chubahiro International School, and it is quite amazing. The learners are enjoying what IB strives to achieve, the learner attributes,
Yes.
and I'm happy that we are getting a very different dimension of students.
Yes.
Students who are becoming dynamic, they're enjoying learning,
Exactly.
and in the process of enjoying the learning, we are developing lifelong learning.
Exactly.
You know, IB has how it structures the approaches to teaching and learning. There is a way teaching and learning is supposed to take place in IB. So maybe perhaps you can share something about that.
Yes, it's quite different compared to the traditional methods. Also, although I have seen now in many countries around Africa, many countries are trying to bring up the student-centered kind of learning, but IB is miles ahead of the rest of the curricula, as we can say, because if you look at MYP, what IB stresses is that the teacher should not come there as the bearer of knowledge, but rather as a facilitator, because these students are trusted to take charge of their own learning, and they learn in groups by doing, by presenting, by debating, and by even, questioning each other on the nature of knowledge in different subjects.
Yeah.
So I see that students are more actively participating. The students are, they lead the classroom process in itself. Yes, the teacher is there. The teacher is knowledgeable in the subject, but the students cultivate this active learning kind of aspect, and they discover knowledge through the practices that they are given. So instead of maybe you going there, for example, you have a syllabus you want to cover, there's a topic you want to go through, and you start now spewing your knowledge. Most of us are knowledgeable.
Yeah.
It now turns that we have what we call an inquiry-based approach. Instead of you providing knowledge, you've come up with a set of questions that will encourage these students to be able to develop knowledge from the known to the unknown. And you realize that once a student has been able to understand this process, it is easier for them to learn. And that's why maybe they become lifelong learners.
Exactly.
That is what I think. And then something else is that it is technologically centered in terms of how we present. Nowadays, all jobs that you can mention about, they cannot exist without technology.
Interaction.
So the students do presentations, they use technology. They do some of their work is some of the activities require them to produce some documentation that is digital in nature. For instance, a student can be told to shoot a 15-minute video, and this mimics what happens in the real professional world in terms of knowledge gaining. And in addition to that, the MYP curriculum has what we call the core. This is a community project and a personal project. Now, this one is interesting because it is what we normally meet in universities, and even for some other universities, it might be in masters. Yeah, this is where a student is able to undertake a particular project of their choice, their liking, and you realize that they make an impact either in the community or the environment in which they are. But at the same time, they enjoy and gain skills, and they write, a report. They get to write some feedback on what it is going on. So, as opposed to it being part of the, something separate from the academic process, it is actually assessed.
Yeah.
In MYP5, a student does personal project, and it is part of the requirements for the student to get the final MYP5 certificate.
Exactly.
And you realize that now that it breaks the barriers that have existed traditionally in education. You realize that traditionally you are to go to school, stay in school, learn about the world in the four corners of the room. And from there you are expected to come out and maybe integrate into the society, being knowledgeable. But these will now break the barriers. You realize that through these projects, the students realize that they have an important role to play, not only in their own life, but the little things that they do, they impact the lives of other people around them. And this is the beauty of IB, as I have said.
And in fact, also in diploma, there is that core
Yes.
And one day, a student asked me, why are we doing university stuff at
Yes.
high school?
Exactly.
So the question was coming straight from one part of the core, that is the extended essay. So you find in diploma, apart from students having 6 subjects, they have that core to be part of it.
Yes.
And in the diploma core, there is the theory of knowledge,
Yes.
where learners they develop knowledge, they perceive knowledge, the nature of knowledge,
Yes.
and so on, and other custodians of knowledge. Then we have what we call creativity, activity, and service. This is where there is direct link between a classroom and the society.
Yes.
And like you say, the community project,
Yes.
this is also in the creativity, activity, and the service.
Service. Yeah.
Then there is the other part, the extended essay. This is a 4,000 word document students are supposed to produce in 2 years,
Yeah.
in the 2-year course of their diploma. And here they choose a subject, and then they choose a topic.
Yes.
They research about the topic. They write the introduction, the body, they do the experimentation, and all that kind of stuff. And this is where now they direct link with the university. Remember, in university, that is what really happens.
Exactly.
There's plenty of research. So what happens in IB? Students, what they're supposed to do in the future, out of it, they train to do it now.
Exactly.
So that when they get to university, it is always easier. You find many testimonies around the world. You find students telling you that once they graduated with the diploma or through the IB program, they didn't start at first year of the university.
Yes.
For some courses, they go straight to second year. And in some instances, they go straight to the third year.
Yes.
Because they realize, even universities, they know. Remember, universities, they develop this program together with IB.
Yes.
So they ensure they provide IB with exactly what's supposed to be done at the classroom level.
Yes.
This one has helped the program to be a dynamic program. You know, we have, like, as teachers of IB, we have to keep learning.
Yes.
We have become students.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to keep researching. There is a lot of developments in the world. You know, the recent, the ChatGPT
Yes.
and the extension of the artificial knowledge, artificial intelligence, and how it has shaped our learning. So you can see we are also being challenged.
Exactly.
We are becoming learners as well, along with our learners.
Exactly. And what I realize is that in IB as a teacher, you have to constantly keep updating yourself. And that is best because you are like future-proofing your career. You are not left at some point stuck in the past, but rather you keep improving. Yeah, the ChatGPT has caught the academia world by storm.
Exactly.
And, you know, students, you give them questions, they go feed the question into the system, they get answers in less than a minute, and they bring for the teacher to mark. So I'm glad that IB has provided that platform and has provided guidance on how we are supposed to assess that. So that the students don't lose the knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah, because what used to happen, or what happens when this is not considered, you realize that a student is very good in class, but when it comes to the exams, the student fails. They're not able to produce the same quality of work. And you realize that it is because of the ChatGPT. But now we have a platform or guidelines that will enable us to use this artificial intelligence in academia in a way that is ethical, in a way that also benefits the student in the long term, so that whatever they learn, they don't forget. Something else I like about the core is that, or what rather universities like, is that it is, and that is why universities tend to really get to notice or get to give chances to IB students, the diploma students, early alone in life, even before they have finished maybe their DP. Because I believe the questions or the interests started at Diploma 1, which is the first year of diploma. It is because that they study what is, as you have said, in university. The projects that they do, the assessments, the essays, it trains a student in such a way that they're already accustomed to what happens in university. Because trust me, in our days, it was, you will take maybe a term or two to get used to life in university, how subjects are handled, and so on and so forth. Something else I like is that there is an aspect of independence, of taking ownership in terms of learning. Ethical values in terms of education, in terms of the work that is produced, copyright and so on and so forth, are highly, highly regarded in IB. And we ensure that our students are able to respect their own work and also to respect the work of the students that have, or other people that have produced these types of work that they interact with. So I would say that the curriculum is designed in such a way that students are well equipped to handle life, not only in university, but in the world. It kind of brings these two aspects very close together.
Yeah. So maybe if we talk a bit about the assessments in the program, in the IB.
Yes.
So if I try to look into the diploma assessments, we have two types of assessments. We have internal assessments and we have external assessments.
Yes.
The internal assessments are cut across all the subjects. A student is supposed to do internal assessment in all the subjects that they do.
Yes.
And from these internal assessments, the facilitator, the teacher, will assess it and they will give marks.
Yes.
Then together with the external assessments, which they do at the end of the program, first assessment will be next year, May.
Yes.
Together with the internal assessment and the external assessment, the student get their final grade. So learners will achieve between 1 and 7.
Yes.
Those are achievement levels in diploma.
Yes.
7 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. So you can see the band is quite broad.
It's quite broad.
Yes. And from the 6 subjects, a student can score a maximum of 42.
Yes.
And from the core, the creativity, activity and service, the extended essay, and the TOK, the theory of knowledge, they contribute 3 maximum to make it 45.
Yes.
So the students who the students who qualify for the diploma, they need to get about 24 points out of the 45, which is slightly about 50%.
Yes.
And this is a balance.
Yes.
IB tries to balance as much as possible. Even in their own mission statement, you find that they have developed balanced curriculum that is accommodative and all-inclusive. Everybody is accommodated in the program.
Yes.
So the students who don't manage to get 24 points to qualify for the diploma, they are not failures.
Exactly.
They are given certificate courses for the courses that they did.
Yes.
And just like the diploma, they can still secure universities.
Yes, using the certificate.
Using the certificate.
Yeah, so that means that quite a wide range of students can be able to further their studies. Because traditionally, if you did not meet a particular cut-off point, then you are doomed maybe to do the menial jobs. And this tries to balance. Something else I have seen that is important about IB is that they consider even those who have issues to do, cognitive issues, mental problems, these that bear challenges to the academic process. And what the school does, or what myself as an MYP coordinator will do, is I will write to IB to explain to them about the conditions of this particular student, and we arrange what we call access arrangements. If a student has difficulty processing, maybe they have something like a cognitive delay, this can be considered in terms of assessment. If they need more hours in class, maybe to do a test, their final exam, they'll be given more hours. I've never seen another curriculum do that.
No, they plan.
Yeah, because many curricula will just, measure all students on the same pedestal.
They are more judgmental. Yeah, I would say. But it is very accommodative.
Yeah.
Yes, and you see that access, and it's among one of the policies, among the 5 policies.
Exactly.
That we really had to fight a lot with IB, because sometimes you're wondering, how can this happen?
Exactly.
How can you tell us to add a student more time in the exam?
Quite confusing at first,
Yeah, very confusing. And you see, we had to. Because IB is accommodative, everybody has to be on board. You cannot discriminate, I would say, a student because they are not able to write faster.
Exactly.
It does not mean they don't have knowledge. They have. They only take time to put it down on paper. They take time to understand.
Exactly.
Even other challenges are neurological challenges. IB is accommodative on that. And even it tells us that even when the student is exiting your school. For example, those who are graduating from CIS through the IB diploma, we shall provide a letter.
Yes.
That is exit structures
Exactly.
that we have put in place to continue providing support to the students wherever they will go, even in the universities they will go, so that they can continue exploiting their full potentials.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
It is quite interesting. And you see that people who have been traditionally subjected to maybe social social alienation, I would say, they have a fighting chance. These young people, they are knowledgeable. They can be able to survive if you understand their conditions and you provide the best, what we call fair conditions for them to compete in this world. And we've seen that students who are deemed to have these problems, they grow up to be very successful people in future. And if the academic process probably that would have suppressed their potential, it will be a different world altogether. And therefore, I like this about IB.
Sometimes I look at the alumni stories of IB's graduates.
Yes.
And they are quite interesting. You'll find interesting facts there.
Yes.
I was looking at a particular case. There's a student who is serving as managing director in the finance department at the KCB Bank in Nairobi.
Yes.
And she's a graduate of IB in Kenya.
Yes.
And she's physically challenged. I don't think our traditional system of education could allow. I don't think they were in a position to support such a student to reach that level of achievement. But you see, IB has accommodated all of them.
Yes.
And everybody is now given an opportunity to exploit their full potential.
Exactly.
I have seen a case where sometimes back a student will come for admission and they'll come on a wheelchair.
Yes.
They'll be turned back. In IB, that does not happen.
Yes.
And that's why, like you said, in the authorization process, we really had to put a lot of things in place and a lot of measures. And so we had to make the school accommodative. Everything has to be in place to support all the learners that we are getting. And even not only physically challenged, not only mentally challenged, even in academics, like you said, providing extra time and so on. And in fact, if students are affected by adverse effects that we cannot predict, IB has provided us with a provision that we can even request them to allow some students to take the exam from wherever they are under our own supervision. And that is not to prevent students from not sitting for the examination because maybe they could not physically make it at school. So if I had the chance, I'd go back to IB and become
Yes, I think the world is changing, and I'm happy that conversation of inclusivity is now taking shape across so many other curricula across the world. Yeah, something else I like about assessments, especially in the MYP, is that one assessment does not define, success.
Exactly.
Like we in our days we had the secondary final exams, and this will determine now your future according to that particular marks. We have what you call assessments, formative assessments, and then the summative assessment. And if you look at an MYP student, we consider all the main assessments, a number of assessments that this student has gone on, has been able to do, and we're able to judge the character of these particular students in terms of assessments. Because I remember in my years back in high school, a student will be very brilliant, but something happens on the exam day. Maybe they have they become sick, or some students have natural phobia for these major exams, and it affects them. But now, in terms of assessments in IB, you realize that the continuous assessments, the everyday assessments that are given are recorded. The achievement level is given for every objective. And these assessments are considered at the end of the maybe academic year. And I've realized that this is one of the best methods because it tries to bring out the ideal picture of a student. And we have what we call the best fit method. For example, a student can consistently score maybe an achievement level 6 out of 8, 6 out of 8. And in the final exam, this particular student gets a 3 out of 8, out of 7, sorry. So you realize that maybe this student, it is not his or her habit to score this particular low mark, but something might have happened between the time they sat this exam and some time or something back before they sat this particular assessment. And that now gives a fair chance to this particular student. Because I believe that in traditional, back when we were in school, those who were brilliant but they were affected during exams, nothing was spoken of them again. They would have had to repeat and go through an entire year again to try and, bring out their best and so on.
And sometimes they'll be given a 0, and that 0 stands.
Exactly.
Which is a punishment.
It is a punishment to the student, yeah.
Yes, and when I look at Chubahiro International School, I'm a very proud teacher and a very proud coordinator.
Yes.
When I see we have more than 15 nationalities at school, that is intercultural understanding that is existing at Chubahiro International School.
Yes.
You have students from Kenya, students from China, students from wherever. And they all harmoniously exist at Chubahiro International
And teachers
School.
too.
And also teachers. We have teachers from different countries.
Yes.
I think this is what the world needs.
Exactly.
Yes, and this program has come at a time when it is needed most.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what we can tell that parent out there who is thinking about which is the best program and the place to be for their children.
I will say that that IB is the program. First of all, our exams will be done right at the school. The MYP will be done on screen. We shall have those on screen, but of course we can have also the physical exams depending on the circumstances or on the days of the examination. The philosophy around IB centers around holistic learning, lifelong learning, and also global peace. And this comes from intercultural understanding and respect. You realize that we have students who are of Chinese origin, we have students who are of European origin. These many students come with their own perspective of the world, what is right, what is wrong. And what we do as teachers is we put them in the same classroom, set a particular group of a particular role that will allow them to respect and listen to each other. And therefore it translates out there. So it means that a student who has gone through this program, they are not going to struggle. If they go to Russia,
they'll fit.
Should they go to North Africa? Should they go to the US or Canada? It will not be a culture shock to them because they have the tools that will enable them to be able to interact and adapt and even be part of that new culture without a lot of struggles. I've seen stories of students who go to the US and they come back because the culture is totally different and it is not accommodative to them. So some of these are the tools. That
those who have gone through IB, they fit anywhere.
I think so. Yeah.
That's why the students we have are fitting in one classroom under the same instruction. Now, you will find that students of IB, like in many other curricula, you will find one student graduates in those particular curricula and they want to join universities. They will be subjected to other processes. They'll be subjected to English entry examination.
The SATs.
And so on. And but you find this does not happen in IB. So the intensity of the language learning in IB is very intensive and extensive as well. And you find that it has gone overboard. That students who graduate with IB certificates, they are not required, definitely, to sit for any entry examination. Before this examination would delay students' admission by even close to 2 years. Because they were subject passing it. And if they don't pass that entry exam, they'll have to come back again. That is a waste of time. So IB has really organized this program very well. There's no wastage of time. And also it is cost effective. You will see how much they charge for examinations is quite cheaper than in other programs. So here we have a top world class program at an affordable price.
And also, just to add on it is the fact that the IB students, when they go to university, the statistics, this is not me speaking, statistics say that they perform better because they have been exposed to not hard, but quite challenging program that demands a lot from them. So when they go to these universities, it's like quite a relaxation from what they're used to. And you realize that they're able to pick concepts very fast. They get bigger pictures of ideas, and therefore they stand out. And perhaps that's why even the Ivy League schools are very keen to get IB students. I remember when we were authorized for DP, students, universities from like IPAC University from Italy, we have universities from the US, they have come aboard, and we've even had some meetings with these people just to explain our situation and for them to try and understand and even advise us on what is expected.
Yeah, actually, and as of last week, we had our last meeting with the New Jersey City University in the US. And they wanted to know when we are sending our first students there. They are very eager. Like, you can see the demand the IB students have out there. The universities really want them because they know. In fact, most graduates, most successful people in academics, they went through IB programs. Yeah, so they bring out the best, their best when they go to universities. This is quite spectacular and a very unique thing about the IB program.
Yes, I think it's the joy of a parent to see their child progressing and not being denied a chance, irrespective of where they come from. Because initially, you will be profiled based on where you come from and what you have achieved. And these other assessments were to try and ensure that you fit. But IB on its own is challenging enough. And the students and teachers and even the university faculty trusts that any student who has gone through IB and succeeded will be trusted to sit in their classes and be able to study without any form of extra requirements.
Exactly.
So I believe that is the reason as to why IB stands out. And we are the first school in Burundi.
You can imagine.
We definitely are the first school in Burundi. In Rwanda, there's also only one school. In Kenya, there are several. In Tanzania, there are several. And in Uganda, there are also several. But if you look at the fee structure also, because all these nice things don't come at a cheaper price, it is affordable still in comparison to the many schools that offer the IB curriculum. And I believe that if we start off in terms of bringing our students to IB at CIS, I believe that is one step towards success in any direction that a student or the parent would want the student to go through.
Yeah, and Chuba Hill International School has opened admission into the IB programs. And when you go to Chuba Hill International School, international.school, you'll find all the information you need to get about the admission process at Chuba Hill International School in the IB program. I would wish all parents out there to come and be part of us. We are really inviting you. We want to provide the best for your children. We want your children to be the best in the world. Come get it at Chuba Hill International School. We're always open and ready to assist you anytime. You can always reach out on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or through our website. We're always there to assist you. Answer any question, we get back to you, and we shall provide you with the right direction.
Yeah, and we always like to say that welcome and live the IB experience.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.